Hey guys, this is Justin from the Survival Review, and here's our final video and our look at the first Batman series. And we got the fantastic, jaw-dropping Batman and Robin. Now, for this movie, I'm not going to try to talk too much about it, because a lot of stuff's already been said about it, so I think I'd be retreading a ton of stuff. But I got some things I'll talk about, so let's get started. Alright, Batman and Robin. I guess I would want to go through the plot. Well, we got Mr. Freeze, who wants to take over the world, and also wants to cure his wife, who's sick and dying from this disease. And you got Poison Ivy, who just wants to destroy the world to get rid of mankind, because it hurts, mankind's hurting nature. And then you got, let's see, Batgirl gets thrown in, who's Alfred's niece. You know, she's not British, but whatever. Alfred's dying, and Batman and Robin have to deal with that stuff. That's essentially it. The movie is overblown. I think that's the major issue. Besides all the ice puns, bat nipples, and terrible dialogue, if the movie was well written, it would still feel overblown and just won't work. But we'll get to that in a minute. I'll start out with the cast, as usual. George Clooney is a terrible Batman. He doesn't even try. That's what I found surprising. He's a good actor, but I just don't think he doesn't try when he's Batman. He just puts on the costume and I'm Batman. And then his Bruce Wayne is alright. I think he would make an alright Bruce Wayne, and he does okay. But I really did not get invested or care for his character at all in this movie. I cared for Val Kilmer a little bit in Batman Forever. Heck, I cared for Adam West in the 60s movie. But I could care less about him in this movie. I think just the writing for him is uninteresting. And all his scenes with the dying Alfred, I just don't think worked because we're just getting this new guy in to play Batman. You know, we're not if that was Val Kilmer, especially Mike Keaton, you would feel that because you've been with them two for the whole series. But with George Clooney you haven't, so that kind of ruins that scene. Chris O'Donnell as Robin, which I praised in the first movie. It's not his fault, but he's terrible in the movie. His character, all he does is complain and whine. But I know that's not the actor's fault. That's the writing, and I get it. It's not exactly his fault. Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze. I usually don't try to criticize Arnold Schwarzenegger too much, because, you know he has fun doing it, doing movies, even though you know he's not that good of an actor. You can tell, he enjoys it. It's good. It's cool. But this one, there is no excuse. He's bad. He's really bad. Uma Thurman is goofy as heck as Poison Ivy. I feel that Poison Ivy actually could have worked. Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy could have really worked, but just the way the stuff she's given is she acts like she doesn't try because the script doesn't try, so she's awful. Alicia Silverstone, who plays Batgirl, she's forgettable. She's just thrown in for extra, to make more toys. She's useless. So now what do we got here? We got the effects. The effects are well done. For that type, that doesn't do anything. One of the things I was noticing while watching the movie is that the only good things about the movie are the small moments. Those are the only good parts. Like how the logo is the bat symbol with the Robin symbol flying in over it. That's cool. And like when the security guard gets frozen, his hat flies off and then gets caught in the ice as the ice overtakes him. That's cool. But that's all there is. It's just little bits of moments. There's not like, oh, there's one good scene. There's no good scene. I did rewatch the movie. Yes. I actually went through it and rewatched it again. But I was trying to ignore the bad puns and the not so great acting. No scene is engaging at all. No scene has you care about the characters. Maybe Alfred a little bit because you kind of saw it in all the movies, so you might kind of care a little bit oh, you don't need to die, Alfred. But that's all. There's no all the action scenes are overblown. It's just stunt after explosion and explosion. It's all it is. It just keeps on going, and you're not interested because there are no stakes in this movie. I mean, yeah, in Batman Forever the stakes weren't that high because you knew they were gonna live, but at least Bruce Wayne got grazed in the head with a bullet. But this movie won't even do that because it's a safe movie. It's a toy movie. It's a toy commercial, and that's what's annoying because you're just watching and it's I don't care what's going on because nothing is gonna happen. Just Batman at the end. Batman's just gonna save the day, and it doesn't help in the opening fight scene, which goes on for minutes. For 20 minutes ends with Batman as most vulnerable, and Mr. Freeze just goes, "I'll kill you next time," and he walks away. And it's he's right there. Batman's in the middle of thinking, should I go after him or save Robin? Right as he's thinking that, Mr. Freeze is just frozen. Movie's over. But no, they can't do that. So, a lot of bashing right there, but this movie deserves all the bashing it gets. And, I bashed a lot. I'll throw in one kind of good thing. Kind of. This movie is kind of nostalgic for me, because I'm not too embarrassed to say this, but when I was younger, this was my favorite Batman movie. But I'm talking about, I saw these movies really young, at a preschool age. And from preschool to third or so grade, this was my favorite. But I'm not embarrassed because I'm who this movie was marketed for. The kids who want the action figures, So there is while rewatching it, some kind of nostalgic moments, because I remember watching these moments a lot when I was a kid. So I guess it's kind of positive. It's not really positive, but it's not really negative, so at least I don't think it's negative. But yeah, a lot of the problems I'm not going to address because I don't need to. The bat nipples and the terrible ice puns, which is every other line for Schwarzenegger. Just doesn't work. The terrible one-liners. One of the things I know, the first line of the movie, where Robin's all I want a car. Shake stick the car, and Batman goes, "This is why Superman works alone." Anyway, that line, that just reminded me of how, that's a terrible Superman reference. But, in Batman Forever, they actually made a pretty good, Superman reference. A pretty, one that works. Where, Bruce Wayne's talking to Dick Grayson, he's and, Dick goes I'm getting out of here. And Bruce is just "Are you gonna try to follow the circus? They're probably halfway to Metropolis by now." And kind of smart nod. They weren't so subtle in Batman and Robin. So, I don't completely blame Joe Schumacher. I mean, I blame him a lot for Batman Forever, because that was a lot of his stuff. But Batman and Robin, watching the making of, you can see that the toy company literally worked with them in developing the stuff and designing the movie, and that's not a good sign from the start. So I can understand. So I can't completely blame them, but I'm just surprised how they just didn't try anything. They kind of didn't try. Batman Forever, although extremely cheesy and has a lot of faults, still kind of has some Batman-y moments. Batman still acts like Batman. Whereas in this one, it just doesn't. It just feels like they just quickly wrote the script and they're just shoot, we gotta make a new movie, just, okay. Like, Batman goes to a charity auction. Why would, what? What? He's like a, he's a silent guardian, he hides in the shadows. Doesn't talk to press or anything. Nope, I guess not. Also, I didn't like the costumes. Bat nipples aside. Like, I didn't like how the bat logo on George Clooney was just what didn't have like the yellow behind it. I mean, I think it would have made it better if the costume was black. Like, the costume kind of had like a bluish, kind of like grayish tone. So it just felt so like bland. Like it was like a prototype of a costume. Not everything was painted on, and it didn't look. It was a terrible design. The idea to make the Robin costume like the Nightwing costume was kind of cool, but it's not nothing special. What was up with them changing costumes at the end? That was the most obvious like toy like idea ever. In Batman Forever, you can kind of buy it because like the whole Batcave was destroyed, so they takes up the prototype. But in this one, they're perfectly in their costumes. They're like, let's go stop Mr. Freeze. Next scene, they're driving in these vehicles, which would make great toys. I think, yeah, my cousin actually had the Batman one, and they have new costumes. Relevance? No, they don't even say that. Like, oh, this shields me from the ice. Like, they don't say anything. They just give them new costumes, and they just wear new costumes. It's stupid. Alright, I think kind of ranted enough. I actually ranted a lot on this movie. So, rating out of 10. I was going with the 0.5 out of 10. But I have to admit there's kind of a nostalgia kind of factor to this movie, no matter how terrible it is. So, me being a little more generous than being generous to most people, I'll bump it up to 1. 1 out of 10. Because this movie is terrible. The one good thing to come out of this movie is the fact that it did so bad that they had to stop the series, and then they had Christopher Nolan reboot it. That's like the only good thing that came out of this movie. Besides that, not counting the normal problems, it's overblown. It's overblown, terribly written, terribly acted, just all around terrible movie. And now to wash that terrible taste out of my mouth, be seeing the Dark Knight trilogy tonight in IMAX. I think that'll do the job, and hopefully we can get our review of that out soon. It's Justin. Thanks for watching.